All right, thank you so much, Grant. Well, you know what? We are continuing with the topic of our young ones this morning. Now, earlier on this week, we discussed the importance of a healthy breakfast when it comes to our young ones this morning. And we have dietitian Rochelle O'Grady back with us to shed some light on, the many young South African children that actually go about their demanding days without a morning meal. But first, let's see how a few members of the media handled the challenge that was set out by Kellogg's, who were asked to skip breakfast before going into their grueling day.
We like to keep active, so eating breakfast first thing in the morning really is the most important meal of the day for us. Today, though, we've skipped breakfast as part of the challenge to give us a look at what it feels like to go without that really important meal.
And I imagine it is quite a difficult task for children as young as 6, 7, and 8 years old to go on a daily basis without breakfast.
I would have had at least a cup of tea by now, and watching my boyfriend eat breakfast didn't help.
Look, man, what I can say is that I don't think I can start my day without a good, healthy breakfast. I was just telling Rochelle, I had my oats already, I had some eggs, I had some salmon, I had some bread. So, I'm sorted for the day. But it is scary to think that a lot of South African children don't get a good breakfast every morning. Rochelle, so what are the nutritional needs when it comes to children as opposed to adults different when it comes to meals, breakfasts?
Yes, they are definitely, because children, we know, are growing both mentally and physically very rapidly. Okay, so they're usually a lot more active than adults as well. And from a nutritional perspective, so we use glucose actually to fuel our brains. Okay, and children use more glucose than adults do to fuel their brains.
Okay.
So it's really important that children are getting the macronutrients they need, so the carbohydrates, protein, and fat, as well as the micronutrients, so their vitamins and minerals, to make sure that they actually going to grow healthily and reach their potential. And I find children, they're such a vulnerable group, so they're really at risk for over or undernutrition. So it's really important that they get the correct nutrition.
It's that all-important growing factor that we need to take into account. So let's talk about the breakfast. I mean, how much emphasis would you put on a breakfast every morning for a child?
Yeah, it's really, really important, especially because in the morning you wake up and you've come out of a fasting state, so you actually have low sugar levels. So your breakfast is a kickstart to the day. Right. So it really boosts your energy and able to sustain your energy throughout the day. And it's actually been shown that if you include breakfast for children, it improves their cognitive function, so their brain function, especially their memory. Okay, and their attention span.
Thinking about going into school, of course, I mean, we know how busy they are. We know how demanding school can be, even creche, for really young ones. What do you think are some of the effects of a child that goes to school without having breakfast? I mean, what should parents know?
Yeah, so they're really large, they're physical and mental effects. So from the physical side of things, if you think about skipping breakfast, you're physically going to feel hungry. So you'd get symptoms like headaches and stomach pain, so you're not going to be able to concentrate in class. And then from the mental perspective, so as I said, glucose fuels our brain. So if we don't have any fuel, we're not going to be able to concentrate. You're going to feel really tired, you're just not going to have the energy to function.
Right. So we know now that we need to put a lot of emphasis when it comes to breakfast before sending the young ones out to school. How do you go about choosing the correct breakfast? I mean, what are some of the things that you need to keep in mind?
So I always like to say that it's good to pair 2 food groups together. Okay, you can also include 3 if you like. So it'd be something like a healthy, low sugar, high fiber carbohydrates with a dairy, and then you can include a protein, fat, or fruit as well.
Okay.
And then to make sure that you actually adults are very wary of hidden sugars. That's very important. So you need to check the food label. Okay, you know that label at the back? Where you check the 100 grams
We're always guilty of not reading the labels, this I know.
So you make sure you look at sugar, and it's got to be below 15 grams per 100, and fiber must be above 5 grams per 100.
All right, perfect. All right, well, there we go. Some great information. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, just shedding some light. Very, very interesting. But you know what? I can never have enough breakfast this morning, so I'm going to go with this. Once again, some more breakfast to fuel my day. It's going to be a long one. But it really is interesting information this morning. Now, unfortunately, like we've learned, many children don't have the option of having breakfast in the morning and are still forced to take on the challenges of a day on an empty stomach. Now, Kellogg's is on a mission to take on this epidemic and make a difference, feeding little tummies all over the country. And later this week, we'll see exactly how they're doing it. So stay tuned to Expresso to see more from Kellogg's. Right now, though, we are sticking to the topic of our young ones, and it's all about finances. Back to Grant.
Kellogg's, feeding tummies and fueling our future leaders.